the click action, send keys, clear, and what is the other one? Is displayed method. Right. So let me explain the another method is selected. Is selected, get text, and get attribute. These methods, there are other methods belongs to web element. First, let us see what is selected. Then we learn about get text method and also get attribute method. So take the next topic, is selected. Is selected. Is selected is a method name. What is this is selected method? Say in your application, in some web page, I have some checkbox element. I have some radio button elements. Assume this checkbox is already selected. If I apply is selected method for this element, this will return true. If I apply is selected method for this element, will return false. Is selected method will verify the specified checkbox element or the specified radio button element is already selected or not. If selected, it will return true. If not selected, it will return false. If I apply is selected method for this radio button element, will return true. If I apply is selected method for this radio button element, it will return false. If I want to check a checkbox or a radio button already selected or not, then I can go for is selected method. So make a note of it. Is selected. The name itself very clear. Whether it is selected, if selected, true. If not selected, false. This method checks, is selected method checks the specified checkbox or radio button element. This method applicable only for these two. Text box or a button, we cannot apply is selected method. It checks the specified checkbox or radio button is selected or not. Is selected or not. If selected, it returns true. If not selected, it returns false. The given radio button, the given checkbox element, selected or not, will be verified by is selected method. If they are selected, the method returns true. If not selected, this method will return false. The syntax will be that web element, maybe checkbox or radio button, whatever, method name is selected. It will return a Boolean value, either true or false. If already selected, true. If not selected, false. Here I'm invoking some application, flights.qatech.com, a sample flight reservation application. The user registration page, I have a checkbox. I want to verify whether the checkbox is by default is selected or not. It's available in user registration page. After invoking this application, I want to make Selenium to click the link, register link. It's a link. Find the element by its link text, register, then click it. After clicking the register link, we are getting this page. This checkbox element is selected or not, I would like to verify. Right click is not working here. What to do? Shift Control I. We are spying the properties of the checkbox element. I can go with the ID here. ID available, I can go with ID. Here I declare a variable. My variable name is checkbox of data type web element. We know driver.find element returns a web element. Whatever the element recognized by the Selenium during run session, that element I am keeping in a variable called checkbox. Now, checkbox element dot, I am applying the method is selected. It's not selected by default. When I run the code, is selected method will verify the checkbox is selected or not. If not selected, false. If selected, true. Now you get false because by default it was not selected. We are getting false because it is not selected. We are performing a click action on the checkbox element. We'll select it. After selecting it, again I am printing the is selected value. After selecting, again I am verifying the status of is selected. The checkbox item is already selected or not. Before selecting, the value is false. After selecting, the value is true. It's selected. After selecting, the value is true. Before selecting, false. After selecting, the value is true. Just I demonstrated what is selected method here. Okay, fine. What is the practical usage of this selected method in Selenium test cases? My requirement is like this. I want to, supposing expected, by default it should be selected. Expected, it should be selected by default. I do not know whether it is selected or not. In this context, I can use. Other thing. My requirement, I want to always keep it selected. I want to always keep it selected. I want to select it. Assume that by default it is already selected. In order to select it, I am writing the code click. What happens? By default, it is already selected. I do not know its default status, whether it is selected or not selected, I do not know. My requirement, I want to keep it selected. I made Selenium to find the element and click it. But by default, it is already selected. What happened?
It will undo, sir.
Uncheck. Already checked. Click method will uncheck. But requirement is I want to keep it check all the times. So first I need to verify its selection status. Not selected, then only select it. Not selected, then only select it. I build a condition here. If checkbox is selected, will return a Boolean value true or false. What is this operator? Not operator. If not selected, then only select it. If selected, leave it. Now your code will verify the checkbox item is already selected or not. Supposing not selected. What is the value?
False.
False. Not false. True. It will select. Supposing already it is selected. Is selected will return true. Not true. False. This code will not run. So always your code keep it selected. Irrespective of the default selected status of the checkbox element, always I want to keep it selected. First I verify the status of whether it is selected or not. Not selected, then only select it. If already selected, that code will not be executed. Click method will not be executed. The same thing you can apply for even radio button. The same thing you can apply for even radio button also. Taking a lot of time. Okay, here we have some radio button element. Can I use class property here? Can I use class property here?
No, sir.
No, there's a white space here. There's a white space here.
No, sir. No, you can't use.
Okay, in this application, actually, divisions are implemented. No worries. And tell me which property we can consider now. It's the input element. Type property is radio. But not only this radio button, there are multiple radio buttons available in the page. All radio button type property will be radio only. If I go with type property radio, all the times your Selenium will find out the first radio button element in the page. So better, one or two properties are available but not useful. Here I have a class, but there's a white space. I'll go with the location of this element. It's absolute location of the element. We'll try this. No guarantee it can recognize, but I will try this. If able to identify, then only I use in my code. The application cleartrip.com. Acropath. This is a partial location. One element. Not highlighting that. You will try export. It's not highlighting. Okay. The first one it is. One-way related radio button. Driver dot find element by its X path. This I'm storing in a variable of type web element, say radio. Just I want to verify is selected status of the radio button. We observe the radio button by default selected, the first one. As by default it is already selected, it will return true. If I apply the same for the second radio button which is not selected, it will return false. Here I am trying to explain you, isSelected method is applicable only for the radio buttons and checkboxes. Oh, sorry. In our web pages, if you want to make Selenium to check a radio button or a checkbox is selected or not selected, we can use the method isSelected method. As one-way radio button is already selected, your code must return true. It's returning true. This time, isSelected method I'm applying for the another radio button in the page, that is round trip. Simple method it is. I'm taking the XPath value of the element. Label 2 it is actually. Previous one label 1. The second radio button was not selected. isSelected method will return false. Only for checkboxes and radio button, this method we can apply. If you want to verify a checkbox or a radio button is selected or not, based on that you want to drive the rest of the test case, we can go for that is selected. As it is not selected, returning false. Right. So I hope you understood what is selected, right? Is displayed will verify the element. Any element is present in the page or not. If present, true. If not present, false. Is selected method is applicable only for the two types of element, radio button and checkboxes. Now let me introduce you another method, getText. Take the next one, getText. getText. See, what is getText? See, in my application, I have a link here. Link has some text. Gmail. Another link has a text. Google, something like this. When you refer the HTML code of this element, it's an anchor element, right? This anchor element will have a text, end of the anchor element. What is the text here? Gmail. Another anchor element has a text here, the Google. Not only anchor element, I have some li, list elements. End of the li element. Here I have some text. A span element. End of the span element. A paragraph element, paragraph, content. A content displayed on a web page, paragraph element it is. P. Header elements, label element, title element, any element, if there is a text belongs to this element. This a text property belongs to first anchor element. This a text belongs to second anchor element. This the text belongs to li element, this the text belongs to span element, and it is the text belongs to paragraph element. To capture the text property of any web element, it may be a li element, span element, anchor element, any other element, we use a method called get the text property of the element, get text. You note on this. You note on the diagram as it is. Any web element, HTML element, has a text. It may be anchor element, li element, span element, paragraph element, heading element, label element, title element. Any HTML element has a text. You want to make Selenium to capture the text of any web element, we use getText. Guess the return type? GetText. String. It returns a string. The text belongs to that particular web element. A paragraph element will have a lot of content. End of the paragraph element. The entire text can be captured using getText. It may be title, it may be heading, it may be label, it may be any HTML element. If there is a text of the HTML element, that text can be captured using getText. I want to read the content on a page. I want to read the text property belongs to a link. I can go for getText. The method name is getText. Take some short notes about it. getText. It returns text belongs to specified web element. Text belongs to specified web element. Continuation. Its return type is string. Its return type is string. Syntax web element dot get the text of it, get text. Listen. I want to read the first paragraph of content available in this page. Only this. Whatever we see in a web page, it is a HTML element. This is one paragraph here. The next paragraph element. It is a separate paragraph. It is another paragraph. I want to read the content of the first paragraph. This is that element. P paragraph. This is the entire content, end of the P element. In between there is a text. Starting P, end of the P, in between there is a text. This is what I have given in the diagrammatic representation. Any element has a text between, that is the text property belongs to that particular web element. These text can be captured using getText. Class property available, style 7, align property available, justify. For the next paragraph also class property and align property are same. Better I go with the export. These are the practical scenarios where we use the location of the element. This is a full export, absolute export. It is a partial export. I shorten, but no guarantee this can perfectly recognize the element because it is not system generated value. I customize the system generated value. Before I use in my code, better I confirm than use in my code. Actually, while installing the Chrome path, I was not selected when I have to uninstall and I have to install it. There will be lastly one checkbox, enable Chrome path in the private window. If selected, then only automatically it will appear on the private window, meaning even the windows opened by your tool also, not manually open windows. For that reason, what I'm doing, I'm closing and again opening browser manually. Here I have Chrome path. Yes, I can use it. It is highlighted, I can use it. Only one element. Find the element based on its export. Get the text property of this web element. This I'm keeping in some variable. Page content something. A page content. Your code reading the content printed in the results. Primus Bank dates back to lost in Northwest Bank Group. Your code able to read the entire content available in the first paragraph. I am reading only this one, not the remaining part. Otherwise, P1, paragraph 1. I want to read the next paragraph content also. It is also another element. I'll take the location of the element. P1, paragraph 1, P2, paragraph 2. Here I am declaring one more variable, P2, and get the text of it.
Sir, double slash. Double slash in expert.
Good. Now I am printing the P1 plus P2 together. Two paragraph together I am printing. Starting value Payments Bank, lastly stock exchange something. It is actually the second paragraph. Till the last stock exchange. If you want to print paragraph by paragraph, first you print P1. Then print, P2. P1, insert a new line, and P2. First paragraph, it's inserting a new line, blank line. It's inserting a blank line. Then I'm printing the paragraph 2. A script to capture content displayed in a page using getText function. To capture the content displayed in a page, we can use getText. Previously, in this program, I applied for a paragraph element. Not only for paragraph element, any web element also you can apply this. Yes, somebody posting a question?
Sir, will it capture only first line in the paragraph?
No. That's what your observation. Is it capturing only first line? It's capturing the complete text. Starting from Payments Bank dates, is it capturing only the first line or complete text? You are printing complete paragraph in one line. Right.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Now, the another one. When to use getText? Previous also I used it. Say, Facebook application. There are so many links present in the page. I want to count and I want to print all links present in the Facebook page. What is the logic? Tell me. I want to print all link names present in the Facebook page. What is the logic? First, we need to capture all elements in the page. All anchor elements in the page. Tag name is anchor. Its return type is
String.
a list of web elements. What is the tag name for anchor elements? Link elements? Anchor. Links. While explaining find elements, I demonstrated similar kind of example. Find elements in the Facebook page created using a tag name called anchor. Let's say if there are 20 available, 30 available, all 20 or 30 will be captured into the Java list. Now, I want to print all links present in the page. Let's say there are 20 available, 0 to 19. Now, links dot get of I dot get the text of it. Get the text property of the element. I'm printing all the link text here. All the links text I'm printing here. Any link you take in any web page, see here, the very first one, forgotten password. This forgotten password is anchor element. It has a text property here. Anchor element, end of the anchor element, there is a text in between. This text can be captured using getText. This also you can capture using getText. In order to capture the text belongs to an anchor element, also I have used here getText. Okay. Now, the same Facebook application, is a header element. Header element. The header element also has some text here. I'm copying the location of this element. This is the export, absolute export I use. Get the text property of this element. This I'm storing into some variable. Let's print it. What I'm trying to highlight, any element text property can be captured using getText. Facebook helps you connect and say something. Another example. Right. Any element text property can be captured using getText. Hope you understood getText. any element has a text, that text property can be captured using getText. Right. Now my code invoking the RNHRM application. I want to check when I give a wrong username, wrong password, and click submit, does the system showing appropriate error message or not? I would like to check. If it is manual testing, my test is pass. We are getting invalid credentials. In automation testing, I want to build a logic to validate the same. First, let me write the logic till clicking this login. Find the element by its ID. Input some sample data. Invalid username I am giving. I am spying the properties of the password element. I am giving the password value here. It's a name property. We'll go with the name property. Unclick it. So enter a wrong username, wrong password, click submit button. What is expected? System should display some error message, invalid credentials, invalid username or password, something like this. Yes, system showing. In manual testing, by seeing the message, we decide. Here I want to build a condition to make my Selenium to decide the same. How? Whatever we see in a page, it is an element only. Like previously heading element. I am spying the properties of this element, this one. This ID property available for this element. These are text of this span element. I'll make Selenium to find out the element based on its ID, then get the text of it. What is expected text? Invalid credentials, invalid username or password. Okay. So what I do, here I declare a variable error message of data type string. I'll make Selenium to identify that element based on its ID, get the text of it. I'm reading the text property of the element into the variable error message. If this, one second. If this error message, better I'm converting to lowercase. Whatever the error message I'm reading, whole error message I'm converting to lowercase. And check whether this error message contains invalid, maybe invalid username, invalid password, invalid credentials, whatever it may be. Finally, I should get a message that contains invalid. If I receive this, yes, login test case is false. Test case is false. Because expected error, actual also error. I'll print system displayed appropriate error message test pass. Otherwise, system not displaying expected error message and test failed, something like this. Once my work done, let's close the browser window. System showing appropriate error message, test case is false. So here also I use once again get text to read the text displayed on the error message. So these are the various practical scenarios where we use get text method. Hope you understood it. Has online team understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
While developing some more test cases in many areas, we use get text. I want to select a date of birth here. It's a calendar. We learn one by one, we learn. After web element, I'll just discuss about, how to work with the drop-down list element, calendar element, table elements, other elements. I'll make Selenium to select a month. I'll make Selenium to select an year. Then here is a table actually. Table data elements. Table data TD. Next TD element. Next TD element. Each TD element has a text here. This text also can be captured using getText. In many programs, we are going to use getText down the line. Take the next one, get attribute. Get attribute. Get attribute. What is this get attribute? Let me explain. Tell me what is get attribute? Attributes meaning? Attributes meaning?
Properties.
Properties. A element will have a list of properties. ID 1 property, name 1 property, type 1 property, value 1 property, title 1 property, H-reference 1 property. There may be different properties. Any property of the web element you want to see while designing a script, while preparing a script, you want to see a property of an element. How we are seeing? While designing a script, I want to see the properties of an element. How we are seeing?
Inspect.
Inspect.
Right. I want to make Selenium to capture the given property value during runtime. I do not want to see. See, to find out the element, we see the properties, decide one property to identify it. Then I want to capture any other property of the web element by the script during runtime. For that, we use get attribute. The syntax will be web element, identify the element, dot get attribute. Which property you want to capture? You want a title, you want a H-reference, you want a type, the property name to be mentioned here. Which property name you want to capture? You know all property values are strings. Observe here. See the properties of any web element. Any property value of any web element, type equal to text. Text is enclosed in the double quotes. ID value also enclosed in the double quotes. Every value is enclosed in the double quotes. Please observe here. So get attribute, you can capture any property. Type property you can capture, name property we can capture, ID property we can capture, placeholder we can capture, anything you can capture. Actually, here it is also a name. I'll show for email. Now you are seeing why there is a name for everything. Because the text box itself is a name here. Enter your name. Right, see here. Type property email, name property email, placeholder, value, there are different properties. Any property value of any web element you can make Selenium to capture during runtime using get attribute. So what is the return type of this method? String. It's reading the property value. Say for example, that element dot get attribute. The property name, supposing if I am giving title, it will capture the title value. If I use value, it will capture the value. Anything we can use. Note on this diagram. Take this diagram, then I'll give the. A element will have so many properties. If you want to see the properties of an element while designing a script, while preparing a program, you want to see the properties of an element, we use inspect. If I want to make Selenium code to capture any property value of the element during runtime, we use get attribute. Get the specified property, get the specified attribute. That is the meaning. Get attribute. Right. Here, let me explain this way. The google.com is open. It's a link, Gmail link. I'm showing you the properties of the link, Gmail link. Here there is one property called href, hyperlink reference. What actually it is? When we click a link, it goes to another page. That page URL is nothing but href, hyperlink reference. I want to make Selenium to capture href property value of the Gmail link. Find the element by its link text, Gmail. After finding the element, get attribute. The element will have so many attributes, so many properties. Which attribute you wanted? I wanted this time href. This href value available inside the double quote. Any property value is a string. The string will be returned. This I am keeping some URL, say page URL. Let's print it. This is a URL. We made Selenium to identify the Gmail link, capture its redirected URL. Have you understood this? In this program, your code is capturing reference property value of the Gmail link. Okay. Take some notes first. Get attribute. You took only diagram, right? It returns specified property value of the web element. Specified property value of the web element. Its return type is string. Its return type is string. The syntax will be like this. Web element dot get attribute. Which property you want to capture, the property name to be mentioned. Right. In the first program, I am capturing reference property value of the element using get attribute. Not only reference, any property value of any web element you can capture using get attribute. It's RNHRM login script. Login as admin. Now, I want to move on to add employee page. There's a link called PIM. Click it. There's another link called add employee. Click it. Now, system automatically generating some employee number here. I want to make Selenium to capture this employee ID. System automatically generating some employee ID showing here. I want to make Selenium to capture the employee ID which is auto-generated. If you want to use any method, if you want to apply any method on any web element, first we need to make Selenium to find out the element. Find the element, then perform some action. First, I'll make Selenium to find out this element. Which property I can use? I can use either ID property or name property. And observe here, the value whatever displayed here, 1631, is, what is the property? Value is a property here. Value is a property, 1631. I'll make Selenium to find out the element based on the ID or name. Then get attribute of value. I want to capture the value property. will read the value property of the element during runtime. Driver dot find the element by its ID dot get attribute which property of this element you want to capture? Value property I want to capture. This I am keeping in some variable. Get attribute returns a string. Say EMP number. Maybe my variable name is EMP number. This can be X also, right? I'm giving a name like employee ID. The right side expression returns a string. I'm keeping in a variable of type string. Let us print it. I'm printing that employee ID. (1631). You are skipped able to capture the employee number 61. I mean, whatever the value generated dynamically, it is getting captured. So previously I captured H reference property of an anchor element. Now I am capturing value property of the text box element. Let's see another example here. This calculator application, I want to click one button, plus button, two button, equal button. Whatever the results generated, I want to capture it. Actually, it is also value. So text to date displayed in a text box is a value property actually. It's also value property. I want to make Selenium to click this one button first. Previously we observed this. In this application, every element has a same ID property. Value property is 1. I can make Selenium to identify this element based on the value property, then click it. As of now, no value here. There is a name property available for this element, display. For buttons, I can take value property to identify. To identify the results display, I can use name property. calc.qtech.com. Find an element by its. I want to use value property to identify the buttons by the export. Already we used it. Any element whose value property is 1. Then click it. Find an element whose value property is plus and click it. Whose value property is 2 and click it. Whose value property is equal, then click it. Then find the element by its name property. What is that? We have observed here, display. Then get attribute of value. The data displayed in a text box is a value property. This I am keeping in a variable results. Let me print the results. I'm making Selenium to click the one button, plus button, two button, equal button, then capture the value displayed on the results. Three, let's see your code able to capture this or not. Yes. Again, here I explain the practical usage of the get attribute. Supposing we are testing one billing application, sales bill. Here I have product ID. I input the product ID. It is showing the name of the product. Then quantity bought by the customer and a unit price. And I have an option called bill button. Now the amount, let's say there is a text box. There is a text box. In the text box, the amount is getting displayed, which is not editable. I enter something here 10. I enter something here 100. I click bill. The value displayed here is 1000. I want to capture the total amount displayed to verify that the system generating the correct total amount or not. Here also I have to use get attribute of value. Like previously in the calculate application, in the employee registration, we are capturing the value displayed on a text box using get attribute of value. These are practical usage of the get attribute. Hope you understood it. Online team understood when to go for get attribute?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The Facebook application, there are many links in the page. Many links in the page. I want to print all the link names, also their corresponding redirected URLs. If you click a link, it goes to some page, right? That page will have a URL, right? What is the page going to be redirected is nothing but hrefs property. I want to print all the link names and their redirected URLs present in the facebook.com page. First, I'll capture all anchor elements present in the page. They are nothing but the links. This I'm storing in a Java list. For example, links is my Java list name. There are many links available. I want to print all link names first. Link name equal to, yes, what is the link name? Links dot
Get off I.
get of I.
Get text.
Get text. Get of I will access only the web element. That element has a text. I'm using get text. Using get text, I'm capturing the text of the element. Text of the anchor element. Using get text method, we are capturing the text of the anchor element. Text of the anchor element. These anchor element have some properties. You know, href is a redirected URL. That also I want to capture. What is the difference between get text and get attribute? Get text can be used to capture only text of the web element. Any other property of the web element can be captured using get attribute. Now, for the same anchor element, I want to capture the href property value. So my variable may be link URL something equal to links dot get of I dot get attribute. Which attribute you want to capture for the link? H reference. Now I want to print both together. Link name and the link URL together I want to print. We are printing all links in the page and corresponding URLs. Using getText, we can capture only text of the web element. Using getAttribute, we can capture any other property of the web element. See the last link activity log. And these are redirected URL. Activity, something like this. Previous one settings, these are URL. Like here we have something like marketplace, we have something like messenger, these are redirected URL. If we click on messenger link, here. If you click on messenger link, it's redirecting to messenger.com. This one. Got it? Right. So make a note. It's one of the frequent asked interview question. What is the difference between getText and getAttribute? Take it. What is the difference between getText What is the difference between getText and getAttribute methods? GetAttribute method. Take it. GetText method can capture only text belongs to the web element. Only text belongs to that web element. Only text belongs to the web element. Only text belongs to the web element. Whereas using getAttribute, we can capture any property of the web element. We can capture any property of the web element. Any property of the web element. Right. I hope till this point is clear, right? Now from here, first I explained all common operation, web element methods. Now, let me go with component by component. Generally, you know, any web page definitely will have minimum few text boxes, correct? The mostly seen element in any web page is a text box. Okay, you answer me. What are the various operations can be carried out on a text box element? Manually, what we can do on a text box, you tell me. See, we are learning how to automate different operations. In automation testing, you have to make Selenium to perform all possible action. If I know how to automate all possible action, according to my test case requirement, I can build corresponding script. You answer me, what are the various operations can be carried out on text boxes manually? Manually, what you can do on a text box?
Username, password,
That is entering some data.
Input.
Correct? Username or customer name or employee name or address or whatever it may be. Entering some. Right. To enter the data in a text box. To enter a data in a text box, we use a method. What is the method? Send keys. Send keys is a method used to input some text in a text box element. So now again, I no need to repeat how to enter the data in a text box. Leave it. Clear, right? Then already some data available. I want to remove and I want to enter a new data. System automatically generating some employee ID previously. While adding a new employee, system automatically generating some employee number. I want to remove it. Enter the new employee number. Clear. Used to
Yes.
remove the data. Right. I want to read the data displayed in a text box.
Get
Is
text.
displayed.
No, here is the mistake you do.
Is displayed, sir.
I want to read, capture data present in a text box. Just one more, previous script is there. Get attribute of value. I clearly told you the data displayed in a text box is a value property. In this diagram itself clearly available, I said. The data displayed in a text box is a value property. In the employee number text box, we have displayed some data, 16 with 15 something. It's a value property of the element, not text property. If you want to capture the data present in a text box, we have to use get attribute of value. For that reason, I have given two examples. In calculate applications, how I am capturing the value, how I am capturing the data displayed on the text results, get attribute of value. To read the data displayed in a text box, we use get attribute of value, right? What are the other possible operations, tell me, in text boxes? We always enter the data, remove the data to enter new data. I want to capture the data present in a text box. We can capture the data present in a text box not using get text because it is a value property of the text box. Get attribute of value. Then consider another last possibility here. Let's say consider Google text box. Searching. You key something, you are getting a list of suggestions. You get a list of suggestions, right? It's not actually a drop-down list. It's a text box only. But when I key something, we get some list of suggestions. Let me show you this. Not only in Google page. Recently, in web designing, it's a new technology introduced. Mostly people are using it. Web designers are using it. Here, I'm typing something, say Selenium. Is it a text box or a drop-down list? It's a text box element
Text
only.
box.
Text box.
In the text box, when I'm keying something, I'm getting list of suggestions. How to handle the suggestions? It is also one text box. I'm entering something, I'm getting list of suggestions. How to handle these suggestions? In the simple, end user terminology wise, we call them as suggestions. If I show the same to a technical guy who has coding knowledge, he will say it is Ajax. What is this? What is Ajax? Any online team member have idea? Asynchronous JavaScript and XML, shortly called Ajax. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Actually, Ajax is a one of the UI technology like jQuery, JavaScript. Ajax is a UI technology used to implement this kind of suggestions. See, in web designing, fly from, you want to fly from, you can select different sources, origins, where you want to fly from. Let's say there are about 100 possible values here, 100 possible values. If a programmer created a drop-down list, when you click here, You are getting so many values. So many values. End user point of view, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, selecting a value will not comfortable. If really programmer went with a drop-down list, in this scenario, I'll report a bug, usability bug. Usability bug. Functionality wise working, but usability point of view, every user need to scroll down, scroll. I mean, there are so many values, right? And I suggest my developer implement Ajax components. Fly from, give one text box. When the end user keying something, immediately filter and show only the cities belongs to cities where the H available. Cities starting with H or cities where the H is contained. It would be better. Easily people will pick it up. While using many applications, we use it like this or not. You key just one or two characters, you get the filtered values, you select the filtered value. This is implemented nowadays in web designing using a technology called Ajax. Synchronous, JavaScript, and XML. Then, when to go for drop-down list? Select your gender. How many values will be there? Only 2. In this scenario, drop-down list suggested. A institute offering only 4 courses. Select your course, only 4 values. Drop-down list is suggested. If 40 values, drop-down list is not suggested. Ajax is suggested. This, if really my developer implemented like this, I consider as a usability issue. I ask my developer, why can't you go with Ajax component here instead of a drop-down list? Look at this one. First of all, what is this Ajax? The Ajax stands for, generally, one of the very good resource for beginners. WT schools. I hope most of you know about it. No?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Mostly every people know about it. You know only youtube.com, right? Facebook and YouTube. Not learning resources. World Wide Web, W3, schools.com. Not a very professional designing, but minimal. Just you would like to know what is what about any technology, a very best website. But you don't get the deep, extensive knowledge about anything. You get the overall idea about what is what. Some basic details you can get from this website about some trending technologies. Okay, leave it here. What is Ajax first of all? Ajax stands for asynchronous JavaScript and Ajax stands for asynchronous JavaScript and XML. What actually it is? See here in Google, I'm typing something, Selenium. Did I perform any action? Submit button, go button, find button. Did I click anything? No. It is showing corresponding suggestions immediately when I'm keying. When I'm keying, automatically it is fetching and showing the data, right? Not after completion of the keying. See, when I'm changing it, automatically suggestions are changing. This time I'm typing QTP load see automatically it's changing, right? This can be implemented using Ajax technology in web designing. What is it? What is your observation here? When I'm keying something in the text box, without refreshing a page, we are able to fetch the data from the servers. Application fetching the data from the servers, asynchronously showing the data to you. There is no request going server, fetching the data, no page refresh and nothing. User is not observing anything. How it is fetching the data, that is a technology. It's not any programming language actually. A simple technology which asynchronously communicate with the database engine. Based on the data we are keying, corresponding information will be speedily fetched and displayed without reloading the page, without refreshing a page. User point of view, people will like this kind of things. So for usability point of view, nowadays programmers are implementing Ajax technology. If really you are keying something in a text box, if there are more values. How to handle these Ajax components, how to handle these suggestions, that is our tomorrow topic. Got it? So today mostly we learned about get text, get attribute, and also I use a simple method that is selected. But here in many automation test cases we use get text and get attributes. I stop here today. The code what I have implemented I upload in LMS. Tomorrow we focus on handling the Ajax components. 100% must ask an interview question, how you handle the Ajax components in a text box. Question may be sometimes like this, how you handle the suggestions displayed in a text box. Suggestions actually user word, simple word. Technical word for the same is Ajax, because these suggestions will be implemented in the web designing using Ajax technology. Whatever the question, suggestions or Ajax, answer should be the same. How to answer tomorrow we'll discuss. Okay, right. After discussing this, also tomorrow I introduce you how to work with the drop-down list element, how to select a value from a drop-down list, how to count the number of items in a drop-down list, how to pick up an item from how to check a particular item in the drop-down list or not, how to check all items are displayed in ascending order or descending order or not. Like component by component we go. I explained the common operation. Now component by component. First text box related, drop-down list related, table related, calendar related, keyboard operation, mouse operation, how to handle the alerts, how to handle multiple windows, how to handle the iframes, a page inside another page. It's called iframe. If you open youtube.com, there will be multiple windows in one page, correct? Every video is playing in another window. They are called actually iframes. A frame, a page inside, a HTML page inside another HTML page is called a iframe. Sometimes when you click a link, it opens a new window. Your driver focus available on the first window. When you try to write the code to identify the element on a new tab or a new window, you'll get an exception. How to handle the multiple windows, how to handle the pop-ups, alerts, how to handle iframes. One by one we go. Okay? Thank you. We continue tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Online team will continue tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.